In this video we will review how to import records to Istoriam from a CSV formatted file. For those not familiar with the CSV format, it stands for comma-separated values and is a simple and widely supported file format that allows data to be easily imported and exported between different software applications. Importing data from a CSV file can come into play if you have a timeline that is saved in a spreadsheet or a text format. Potentially you may be using another timeline application, and that application can export its data into a CSV file. Finally, you might want to start a timeline using a spreadsheet software and then import the data to Istoriam for additional editing. To import records from a CSV file, you start by structuring the data in a spreadsheet, export that sheet to a CSV format and finally import the CSV file to Istoriam. For that to work, the records have to be structured in a format that can be understood by Istoriam. So the first step is to structure the data in a spreadsheet software in a predefined way. Any spreadsheet software, such as Microsoft Excel, Apple Numbers or Google Sheets can be used. Start a new spreadsheet file and define a table with the following headings. Title, the title of your record. Any text is valid but only the first 50 characters are displayed. Start date, the start date of the record. If left empty, the application will default to today's date. End date, the end date of the record. If left empty or set to a date that is earlier than the start date, will default to the start date value. Tags, the tags associated with the record. Can be left empty. Multiple comma-separated values can be used. Description, this is the description text associated with your record. It can be of any length. URLs, list of URLs associated with your record. If multiple values are used, those should be separated by a comma. Can be left empty. Level, specifies the record level at which the record will be displayed. Please refer to the record level tutorial for a description of how levels are used. This field can be left empty and will default to the value of 25. Otherwise you can use any value between 1 and 250. It is important to note that not all the record attributes that are typically used with Istoriam can be imported from a CSV file. For example, record colors, photos, hierarchy structure cannot be imported and will have to be edited manually in Istoriam afterwards. If you are starting a new timeline, you can add the records as you define them. If you have existing data, you can import that data into your spreadsheet and restructure it as defined in the table above. Once you have completed entering and structuring the data, you will export the spreadsheet to a CSV file. If you are using Apple Numbers, go to the File menu and select Export to and then select CSV. Ensure that Unicode, UTF-8, text encoding is used. You are now ready to import your data to Istoriam. To import your CSV file to Istoriam, go to the Timelines menu, select the Import from submenu and finally select CSV. In the panel that will open, select the CSV file you have created in the previous step. Before we execute the import, let's review the issue associated with the comma separation. When exporting data to CSV, there are instances where the CSV values are separated by a comma, typically in countries where a point is used for decimals, while there are other instances where the CSV values are separated by a semicolon, typically in countries where a comma is used for decimals. It is not possible for the application to determine what type of separator is being used in your CSV file. Hence the application will ask you, before the import is started, to select which of the two types of separators is used in your file. If you don't know, you can either try to open your CSV file in a text editor and check that, or you can let the application run with the default separator, the comma, and if the import fails, retry the import a second time but now with the selection of the semicolon as the separator. The date format is another important attribute to pay attention to. Does 12/01/2024 refer to the 12th of January, 2024, which would be the date when the international date format is used? Or is it December 1st, 2024, which would be the date when the US date format is used? In the configuration panel, you can set the date format that you want the application to use, that is, month, day, year. Or day, month, year. That selected format will also be used when importing CSV files. Note also that incomplete dates, for example using only month and year or only year, can be used as well. Now you can complete your import. Occasionally, the application will not be able to read some of the data in your CSV file. This might happen typically with the date or the URL fields, which might not be entered using a correct format. Anytime the application detects a row with an error, an alert window will inform you of the error, the row number and the field that failed. You can then decide to skip the record or abort the import altogether. In the latter case, all the records already imported will be deleted from your timeline. Once all the records have been imported, you are given a last chance to accept the imported records or abort and cancel the operation. If you accept the import, then the records will become regular records in your timeline. Conversely, if you did not like the result, you can reject the import and all the imported records will be removed from your timeline.